Hi everyone, my name is Melissa. This is the second video in a series that Brian, Julius and I are doing on time intelligence. So I hope you've already watched Brian's video on how to create a holiday table. If you haven't, be sure to check that out, because we're now going to cover probably the most important dimension table in any model, and that is the date table. So if you have a date field anywhere inside your model, you will probably end up running some kind of logic on that. Like how many invoices or orders were processed? What's the material demand, costs, revenue, margin? Are there any overdue tasks? And you can probably think of a million more questions. But what they all have in common is that the result will only make sense if you can place it somewhere in time. And that's where the date table comes in. So a date table includes all the attributes that you might want to slice, dice and filter your data on to get those valuable insights. So best practice when designing a model, check for date fields. If they're present, always include a date dimension table. So let's switch over to the Enterprise DNA forum. Because I created a topic on that date table. And if you want to search within the forum, you can use this search option here and search for date table, but you will find you get a lot of hits. So there are a lot of topics concerning date tables within the forum. So that's probably not a very efficient way to locate it. You can switch to the categories and scroll down. Here you will find the M-Code Showcase category. At the moment there are only 5 topics in that category, and you will find the extended date table there. But probably the most quickest way to find it is to look me up. So go to the search option and look for Melissa. Click on any subject and click on my badge, and you will find that it is the featured topic on my badge. So if you look me up, there you will find the date table. Excellent. So here we have that function, and let's copy it. Press Ctrl C to copy, minimize it, and move to Power Query. Now before we get started, if the formula bar is not visible on your screen, move to the View tab and enable that. Okay. So I'm going to right click my parameter and function folder here, select New Query, Blank Query. Open the advanced editor, select everything and paste it in. Done. I'm going to rename my query. Excellent. And as you can see, this query requires 4 parameters. So you have a start date, which is required, an end date, that's also required, and then there is an optional fiscal year start month and an optional holiday list as well. So let's invoke this function. Let's run it from 2018 to 2020. And let's also pass that 3rd parameter, and I'll show the holiday list later. So invoke this, give it a proper name. Excellent. So if you're familiar with the M-Code that's provided by Sam McKay within the Enterprise DNA resources, you'll probably recognize the first 15 columns or so. Basically I just added attributes to that calendar, to that date table function that made sense to me. But if you require additional or other logic inside your date table, just go ahead and customize it. I mean, that's why the code is available. You can just copy it and amend it to your needs. So I'm going to scroll over a bit and alright, here's the week number. This can be best described as an ISO week number. So if that is not the way you want to handle week numbers, then you have to amend that code. That's something to keep in mind. Here we have additional fiscal year attributes. So the fiscal year is standard, of course, but you also have a fiscal quarter now and a fiscal period. We have some filters like is after today, is working day, or is holiday. At the moment this is unknown because we did not pass that fourth parameter. Then we have some offsets, so we have a week, a month, a quarter and a year offset, and we also have a fiscal year offset. And offsets are amazing. They can really simplify the DAX you require to do some analysis, but we'll explore that in a subsequent video. And we'll end with some other filters, so completed week, completed month and completed quarter. Now, someone asked me a question on the forum on what columns or what attributes to include inside a date table. And the correct answer is always, well, that depends. That depends on what you need to calculate and visualize in your report. So this date table now has 32 columns, but you may want to pick and choose some columns that you require for a specific report you're working on. And inside another report, you might use other columns. So you can just go over to choose columns and deselect what you don't need at that time. And if you change your mind or require something else during the process of developing your report, you can just go back and switch something on or off. That's basically it. So in my opinion, when you are developing a report, most of the time you know the starting date, because that will be the first date, for instance, from a transactional system or whatever. So the starting date usually won't be an issue. Determining the end date of your calendar can be a little more tricky, because the end date will depend on the data inside of your model and how long your report remains active in the service. So there is a way to kind of make the end date dynamic. And there are a lot of ways to create a dynamic end date, but I'm only going to cover one option to do that here. And basically what we are going to do is just change the year. So the year is something that we're going to have dynamically updated. To do that, we'll create a new blank query. So I'm once again right-clicking my parameter and function folder here. Select new query, blank query. So the equivalent of the DAX or Excel function now is called DateTime.FixedLocalNow or DateTime.LocalNow. So you can choose either of those. I usually go with FixedLocalNow. And press enter, and you'll see that gets us a date and a time value. Now, if you want to know what that function does, is just omit the parentheses, press enter, and you'll see the documentation. So you can see that this returns a date time value set to the current date time of the system, and the value is fixed and will not change with successive calls. So we'll add the parentheses once more, press enter. Now, of course, we don't need that full date time value. All we need to extract is the year. So we'll add date.year. And now we only have the year value. Now it makes sense, right, that as we move towards the end of the year, the more likely it becomes that your data will spill over into the next year. So I always add an additional year here, depending on what you need, of course. So now I always have an additional year in my calendar. So let's give this query a proper name. Let's call this max year. Oh, that didn't spell that right. Okay, and let's move back to our date query. So we can now sub in that max year variable and press enter. And let's check if that worked. Excellent. We now have the year 2021 inside of our calendar. Okay. Now, the one thing we didn't cover up till now is how to invoke that holiday list, or how to get that holiday list inside this table. So what we're going to do is we're going to check our holiday table, and as you can see, this now runs from 2018 to 2020, but our max year now has the year 2021. So stepping back into the source tab of this query, we can see the list of years that are passed to this query. And also here we can sub in that max year and press enter. And we now also have that year 2021 here. So stepping back to the last step, we can see that we now also have those holidays for 2021. Excellent. So to add that holiday list, when you invoke it, it's really simple. It's 1/1/2018. Let's still say the 31st of 2012. We'll sub in that max year later and choose column. So here we can select our holiday table and the column that contains our dates. And all we have to do is press OK, and you can see that that is now given to the function, and if we invoke it, it will give us that holiday list here. Now I'm just going to copy this and remove that function. Right, and we can step back to the source tab and we can sub in that list. Now using a holiday list inside your query will result in a little more loading time, because that invokes that function creating the holiday table here. So it takes a little bit longer to load, but then you will find that also here, let's look. So this now contains true and false values. So previously this column had one value that was unknown, and now it has a true or false value for each date in the date table. So January 1st, 2018, it was New Year's Day, so that was a holiday. Excellent. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and be sure to watch out more to come in this Time Intelligence series. Thank you all, and all the best.